أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي زدني علما. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today we will try to finish lesson number 6 and 7. What exactly are we learning in lesson number 6? We are learning ismu ishara lil qarib and ismu ishara lil ba'id for masculine gender and for feminine gender. In jumla ismiya or a nominal sentence, we have mubtada and khabar. When we have mubtada and khabar, we are looking to see if mubtada and khabar matches in gender or in number. Whenever we are talking about ismu ishara in masculine gender, we would use haza. For example, haza masjidun, haza baytun, haza kursiyun, haza babun. They are all masculine gender nouns. And to point towards those masculine gender nouns, I would use haza. For feminine gender, we would use hazihi. For example, if I am talking about sayyaratun, fatimatu, then I would use hazihi. Similarly, for ismu ishara lil ba'id, zalika, which is the noun to point towards things that are far from us, if it is of masculine gender, then we would use zalika. But if it is a feminine gender, then we would use tilka. And we did some Quranic ayahs in the last class to demonstrate hazihi and tilka. In lesson number 6, we are going to solidify this concept, where to use hazihi, where to use tilka. And while we will be doing these lessons, I will keep throwing the curveballs so that our mind is working to see if the scenario is changed, then we would use a different ismu ishara for masculine gender. You will see what I will do. So, we will open up lesson number 6 today as ad-darsus sadisu, lesson number 6, where we are talking about hazihi. Number 1, hazabnu hamidin. Hazabnu hamidin. Whenever we are grammatically analyzing an ayah or in the book, the first thing for us is to identify immediately whether or not it is a jumla ismiya or a jumla fi'liya. If it is a jumla ismiya, then we are looking for subject, which is mubtada, and khabar, which is predicate. Mubtada and khabar should match in gender and in number most of the time. Now, remember, when I say most of the time, there would be situations where we would have no match, but it would all make sense. But most of the time, mubtada and khabar would match in gender and in number. In this sentence, hazabnu hamidin. What is haza? Mubtada. Is it definite?
Yes.
It is definite, right? Is it marfu?
Yes.
Yes, it is marfu. It is marfu. Where is the khabar? Ibnu. Ibnu is the khabar. Wahuwa, what else? Mudaf. How do we know it's mudaf? Because it has a single dhamma and it does not have an al, and it is followed by a noun which is majroor. Remember the compound? Jar, mudaf, mudaf alayh. This is son of Hamid, right? Now, haza is your mubtada, ibnu is your khabar, wa huwa mudaf, and Hamidin is mudaf alayh. Then comes wa. What is wa? Harfu atfin. Hazihi bintu Yasirin, and this is daughter of Yasir. Daughter of Yasir. Why we are using hazihi here? This is exactly what we are learning in lesson number 6, because now we are talking about feminine gender. Hazihi bintu, we are talking about daughter of Yasir. So, hazihi is your mubtada, bintu is your khabar, wa huwa mudaf, and Yasirin is mudaf alayh, and this is daughter of Yasir. Next one, Ibnu Hamidin. Stop here. Ibnu Hamidin. What compound is that? Mudaf, mudaf alayh. Ibnu is your mubtada, also a mudaf, and we call it wahuwa mudaf, and Hamidin is your mudaf alayh. Where is the khabar? Jalisun. Jalisun is the khabar. Now remember, khabar is of 5 types, and if khabar is one word, then it is, or mufrad, then it is marfu. We cannot say Hamidin is the khabar, because Hamidin is majroor and Hamidin is mudaf alayh. Son of Hamid is sitting. Jalisun mean sitting. Son of Hamid is sitting. Wa bintu Yasirin waqifatun, and daughter of Yasir is standing. Now, let us say here, rather than talking about bintu Yasirin, and this is the curveball I was talking about, we are talking about Ibnu Yasirin. What change in the sentence will happen if, rather than talking about daughter of Yasir, we are talking about son of Yasir? What change? Waqifatun will become waqifun. This is another concept that we learned. Most of the nouns we can convert them from a masculine gender into a feminine gender by adding a ta marbuta or the gol ta at the end of it. So, waqifun is masculine and waqifatun is feminine. Now, here since we are talking about bintu Yasirin, daughter of Yasir, is standing, we would use waqifatun because my mubtada is bintu and my khabar is waqifatun, and mubtada and khabar needs to match in gender. This is what we are learning. It's a very easy lesson. Man hazihi. Man hazihi. Who is this? Remember man or ma in lesson number 1 or 2, I think we learned. Man is a pronoun used for aqil, for intellect. So, now we are asking about in this sentence somebody who is an aqil group, a person. Man hazihi, who is this? Even by looking at man hazihi, what exactly comes to your mind? Okay, man, when I read man, I know that this is from the aqil group, people with intellect, and hazihi. Immediately my mind knows that I am pointing or I am asking about a feminine gender. If I would say man haza, then my mind would know that I am asking about a masculine gender. Okay. So, there is information about who we are asking. Hazihi ukhtul muhandisi. Hazihi is your mubtada, ismu ishara lil qareeb. That means the person we are asking about is near to us. Why are we exploring all these small little things and here and there? Because when we read the Quran and the word haza comes or hazihi comes, for us to understand the emotions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we need to understand that whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing towards a feminine gender or a masculine gender, or the thing is close to us or far from us, is it from the aqil group or from the ghair aqil group, all these things for us to understand. This is why we are going into a bit more detail. Not many courses will go into that much detail. They will simply tell haza is ismu ishara lil qareeb, hazihi is ismu ishara lil qareeb for feminine gender and for masculine gender, and then move on. But for us, we are going a bit deeper here. So, hazihi ukhtul muhandisi. Hazihi is your mubtada, ukhtu is your khabar, wa huwa mudaf, and al muhandisi is mudaf alayh. Al muhandisi is, what is the translation? This is daughter of an engineer, daughter of an engineer, mudaf alayh. Sorry, not daughter, sister of an engineer. Hazihi ukhtul muhandisi, sister of an engineer. Next one, ahiya aidan muhandisatun. What is a? Hamza to istifham. Hamza to istifham. And what is the function of hamza to istifham? It will convert a sentence into a question, and it would always come in the beginning of the sentence. Remove hamza to istifham from this sentence, what will happen? Hiya aidan muhandisatun. She is also an engineer. We are talking about sister of an engineer. So, in order to ask if she is also an engineer, we would say Ahiya aidan muhandisatun. Now, you see how muhandisun change into muhandisatun, because now we are talking about the feminine gender, sister of an engineer, right. And the answer is la, harful jawab, no, hiya tabibatun, she is a doctor. Where is mubtada? Hiya. Where is khabar? Tabibatun. Tabibatun is your khabar. Now, we are saying man hazihi, and the answer is hazihi ukhtul muhandisi. This is sister of an engineer. What if we change this scenario into a brother of an engineer? Then would I use man hazihi? No, I would say man haza. Okay, I'm doing a curve, a different scenario, an opposite scenario here, and rather than hazihi in the next sentence, I would use haza akhul muhandisi, brother of an engineer. And then I would say, would I say ahiya aidan muhandisatun? No, no, no. Then I would change it. I would change here into huwa. Remember the 14 pronouns? Huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu. Then here will change into huwa, because now we are talking about masculine gender. We say ahuwa aidan muhandi sun, not muhandisatun, because we are talking about masculine gender. And the answer will be lahiya tabibatun. No, the answer then would be la huwa tabibun, not tabibatun, tabibun, because now we are talking about brother of an engineer. We are doing this reverse engineering scenario so that this concept is solidified in our mind. Next one is sayyaratu man hazihi, whose car is this, sayyaratu. Now, when you read sayyaratu, what comes to your mind immediately? There is a ta marbuta, the goal ta at the end of this noun. So, immediately my mind knows that this is a feminine gender. That is why rather than using haza, I would use hazihi. Sayyaratu man hazihi, whose car is this. Answer is hazihi sayyaratul mudiri. Where is the mubtada? Haza, hazihi, ismu ishara lil qarib for masculine, for feminine gender. Where is the khabar? Sayyaratu. Sayyaratu is the khabar. Wahuwa mudaf, and where is the mudaf alayh? Al mudiri. This is car of an headmaster. This is a bit more information. Is sayyaratu definite or indefinite? It is indefinite, and I think we discussed that in the previous class. And this concept is discussed by Dr. Saab in book 3, but I am just saying it. If you remember, fine. If you don't worry about it. Al mudiri, the headmaster, is that definite? Yes. So, if sayyaratu is indefinite, but since it belongs to the headmaster, so now we are talking about a specific sayyara or a car which belongs to the headmaster. So, by default sayyara is also definite. For example, if I say qalamu, qalamun, a pen, it could be any pen, but when I say qalamul mudarrisi, pen of the teacher, then I know I am not talking about any pen, I am talking about a pen of the teacher, right. So, even though qalamu, I mean if you just look at it, qalamu, it's indefinite, but since it belongs to somebody and that somebody is very definite, then qalamu will have an identity, by default becomes a definite. Next one, ma hazihi. Now, again when ma hazihi comes, I have to think about it. Now, I am pointing towards which is from the ghair aqil group, immediately, and that ghair aqil group is from feminine gender, because I am using hazihi. The answer is hazihi mikwatun. This is an iron, mikwatun. It is a feminine gender. Liman hazihi, li, what is li? Harf jar. What follows harf jar? Ism majroor. Where is ism majroor? Man. Man is a pronoun, it is a noun. Liman, to whom it belongs, to whom this belongs. Hazihi, this belongs. So, we are talking about this, mikwatun, we are talking about iron, and the answer is hazihi li Khalidin. Hazihi li Khalidin. Where is mubtada? Hazihi. Why hazihi? Because we are pointing towards mikwatun, and mikwatun is feminine gender. Where is the khabar? Li Khalidin. What kind of khabar is that? Li harf jar, Khalidin ism majroor. Jarun wa majroorun, shibu jumla, khabar. Next one, darrajatu anasin hazihi. What is a? Harf hamzatu istifham. Darrajatu, bicycle. What is at the end? Ta marbuta. That means this is a feminine gender. Anasin. Is this bicycle of Anas? The answer is la. No. La is coming here as harful jawab. La comes in many flavors, and those flavors are more tasty than harful jawab. I can assure you, la in as an harful jawab has a very basic taste, but when we learn about the different flavors of la, then you will find them more tasty than just the harful jawab. For example, if I would just give you something very basic, I just thought I would give you that, even though this is a concept that is discussed, I think, at the end of book 2. What is the first thing that our parents, when we are young, maybe when we begin to say words, right? What is the first thing our parents teach us about Islam? La ilaha. Okay. This la is also coming in as a negation, is such a powerful statement that once you realize, and this is the first word that I think we learned in our childhood when we first start speaking, la. This la is such a powerful statement that once we understand this la, then our entire concept of what we are saying, La ilaha illallah, will change. What follows after this La? Ilaha. Is this mansoob? It is mansoob. Okay, it is mansoob and it is indefinite. This is a special La. It is called La an-nafiyatu lil jins. I am just telling you that. If you remember this thing, fine. If not, don't worry about it. And when this La comes, it will be followed by an indefinite noun, and that noun will be mansoob, and it will have an absolute negation. There is no room for any body to inquire about it or make confusion about it. It's an absolute negation. We'll do it in more detail, right? Which means if I say, for example, I don't drink coffee, then you may try to say, okay, fine, you don't drink coffee, but maybe in the past you were drinking coffee. Then I have to say, no, I don't drink, I never drink coffee in the past. What if you will, in the future, you will start drinking coffee? No, I would not, never drink coffee in future. What if you're not drinking coffee, but you're taking any derivative of a coffee in another form? So how is your statement true? When this La comes, it will eliminate all those doubts and will have an absolute negation that nobody can argue about it. Not anymore. La ilaha. That's it. No argument, no doubts. And there are many examples in Quran as well. Yes. Suratul Baqarah. Alif Lam Mim. Zalikal kitabu la raiba fi. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Once we understand this kind of La an-nafiyatu lil jins, then your entire perspective about La raiba fi, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying is that in this book, there is absolutely no confusion in it. No argument, no confusion, no if and buts. That's it. It's an absolute negation. It's an absolute negation. Another one, La ikraha fid din. And there are many examples in the Quran. So this is another flavor of Allah that we are talking about. We will inshallah learn more flavors of law, and you will find those flavors more tastier. Going back to the lesson, we are talking about bicycle of Anas. Is this bicycle of Anas? The answer is La, no. Hazihi darrajatu Ammarin. This is bicycle of Ammar. This is bicycle of Ammar. Hazihi jadidatun. This is new. What is the meaning of jadidatun? New. Now, why am I saying jadidatun? Because we are talking about darrajatu, a bicycle, and that is feminine in nature. That is feminine in nature. Rather than, if we would be saying, rather than we are saying about darrajatu, let's say we are talking about anything else, kursiyun for example, right? Rather than darrajatun, we are talking about kursiyun. Would I use jadidatun here? No, I would use jadidun, and rather than hazihi, I would use haza. Haza jadidun. Wa darrajatu Anasin qadimatun, and bicycle of Anas is old. Qadimatun means old. Hazihi sa'atu aliyun. What is the meanings of sa'atu? Sa'atu means watch. It's feminine gender because it ends with ata marbuta. Hazihi sa'atu aliyun. This is watch of Ali. This is watch of Ali. Aliyin, Saatu Aliyin, Mudaf Mudaf alayh. Where is the mubtada? Hazihi. Where is the khabar? Saatu. Wahuwa mudaf Aliyin mudaf alayh. Hiya jamilatun jiddan. Why hiya? Because we are talking about Saatu. It is beautiful, not just beautiful, very beautiful. Why am I saying very beautiful? Because this jiddan here, Dr. Saab is bringing in, even though this is a concept that we would learn later, just watch that this is mansoob, what we call is maf'ulun mutlaq, an absolute object, right. So, I am not just saying beautiful, I am saying very beautiful. So, I am basically promoting the beauty of the watch to very beautiful. That is why I am bringing in maf'ulun mutlaq. For now, just remember that, but there are more to it, but we will learn in book 3 inshallah. This is very beautiful. It is very beautiful. Hazihi mil'aqatun. What is mil'aqatun? Spoon. This is a spoon. Wa hazihi qidrun, and this is a pot. And this is a pot. I don't need to analyze it because we know hazihi is mubtada and mil'aqatun is khabar, and they are both match in gender and in number. Wa is harfu atfin. Wa is harfu atfin. Wa hazihi, and wa hazihi mudaf. Sorry, it's a mubtada, and qadrin is your khabar. Al mil'aqatu fil qadri. Al mil'aqatu. What is al mil'aqatu? Mubtada. Mubtada, right. Where is the khabar? Jarun wa majrurun shibu jumla khabar. Jarun wa majrurun shibu jumla khabar. The spoon is in the pot. Hazihi baqaratul fallahi. Hazihi baqaratul fallahi. What is baqara? Feminine. Feminine gender. That is why we are using hazihi. Baqaratu. What follows baqaratu? Al fallahi. Majroor. What kind of compound is that? Mudaf mudaf alayh, right. So, hazihi is your mubtada. Where is the khabar? Baqaratu only. Wahuwa mudaf and al fallahi mudaf alayh. Next one. Haza anfun wa haza famun. Okay, this is a concept that Dr. Saab is bringing in about body parts. So, a bit of an information about body parts. In a human body, the parts which are in pairs, eyes, ears, hands, feet, they are in pairs. The body parts which are in pairs are referred to as feminine, and body parts which are singular are referred to as masculine. Nose, tongue, masculine, because it's one nose, one tongue. So, this is a concept that Dr. Saab is bringing in, and he is saying hazihi, haza anfun. This is a nose, singular. Wa haza famun, mouth, just one mouth, right, and this is a mouth. Hazihi uzunun. Why uzunun? Uzunun means air. Why hazihi? Because air comes in pair, that rhymes. Hazihi uzunun, this is an air. Wahazihi aynun, and this is an eye. Wahazihi yadun, and this is a hand. Wahazihi rijlun, and this is a leg, right. Ikra waktub. Haza masjidun wa hazihi madrasatun. Very easy. What is masjidun? Masculine. That is why we are using haza. What is madrasatun? Feminine. We are using hazihi. Man hazihi? Who is this? Hazihi ukhtu Abbasin. Hazihi ukhtu Abbasin. This is sister of Abbas. Haza dikun wa hazihi dajjajatun. This is, what is dikun means? Roaster, rooster, right? Haza dikun wa hazihi dajjajatun. Dajjajatun means chicken. Hazabnul mudiri wa hazihi bintul mudarrisi. Simple, it is very simple. We are talking about son of the headmaster and daughter of the teacher. So, haza and hazihi, this is son of mudir, wa hazihi, and this is daughter of mudarris. Hazihi ummu Yasirin. Hazihi ummu Yasirin. This is mother of Yasir. Ummu is mother, feminine gender. This is a concept, if you remember, that is fine, about feminine gender. Ummu, ukhtu, bintu, by default they are feminine relationships, or what we call muannas haqiqi, right. So, I do not have to look for ata marbuta or any other sign in those nouns. So, we call it muannas haqiqi, right, because by default, by nature, these relationships are feminine relationships. Then there is something called muannas qiyasi. You estimate them, right. Muannas qiyasi, you estimate them. For example, tabibun will become tabibatun, and you see ta marbuta and the end, and then you estimate that this is a feminine gender. Muhandisun muhandisatun, jadidun jadidatun, qadimun qadimatun. This is called muannas qiyasi. So, you estimate that they are feminine in nature. There is the third type, which is muannas as-samai. What is the meaning of as-samai? If you remember these things, that is fine. If you don't worry about it. As-samai mean when the language was developed, the Arabic language was developed, there were few nouns which were given the feminine gender status, and there were few nouns which were given the masculine gender status, and this is how the people heard, and this is how the language was developed, and it became prominent in the language. For example, in the last class, ad-dunya. Ad-dunya, now ad-dunya is not a feminine relationship, it is not a muannas haqiqi. You do not see ata marbuta and the end, so it is not muannas qiyasi, but we refer dunya as the feminine gender, because this is muannas as-samai. This is how the people heard in the past, and it become relevant in the language. It became relevant in the language. Ad-dunya, Jahannam, Ash-shamsu. Shams is also the sun is also feminine. Al-qamar is masculine. So, muannas comes in these three categories by and large. Some of them we would be immediately able to identify. Some of them, if we don't, the dictionary will tell us. So, we will go to the dictionary and see whether it's a feminine gender or it's a masculine gender. Number 5, Hazihi Ummu Yasirin, this is mother of Yasir. Aina Qidrul Lahmi, what is Al Lahmi? The meat, the meat. Where is pot of meat? The answer is Hiya Fis Sallajati. It is in the refrigerator. Haza babun wa hazihi nafizatun. This is a door and this is a window. Next one, next exercise, tamarin ma haza. What is this? Now, here Dr. Saab has given us pictures and want us to identify whether we would use haza or hazihi. Haza or hazihi. The first one is a pen. What would I use? Haza qalamun. Next one is a spoon. Mil'aqatun. What would I use? Hazihi. Next one is kitabun. Haza. Next one is qamisun. Haza. Next one is baytun. Haza. Next one is sa'atun. Hazihi. Because there is a ta marbuta there. Next one is sayyaratun. Hazihi. Next one is babun. Haza. Next one is rijlun. Body parts in pair. Hazihi, feminine. Next one darajatun. Hazihi. Next one is famun. Haza. Next one is qidrun. Hazihi. Next one is yadun, hand. Hazihi. Next one anfun. Haza. Next one is mikwatun. Hazihi. Kursiyun. Haza. Miftahun. Haza. Salajatun. Hazihi. Masjidun. Haza. Najmun. Haza. Right? Najmun. Haza. So, here what we are trying to do is to sharpen our mind to use either haza or hazihi depending on the noun we are trying to address. Next one. From the sentence, make them according to the pattern. For example, Muhammadun talibun. What is the meaning? Muhammad is a student, right? Aminatu talibatun. Amina is a student, but rather than using talibun, we are using talibatun. This is a very easy exercise. We will just do it in 1 minute. Hamidun tabibun. Fatimatu tabibatun. Huwa muslimun. Hiya muslimatun. Al-babu mughlaqun. An-nafizatu mughlaqatun. Al-mindilu wasikhun. Al-yadu wasikhatun. Ash-shayu harun. Al-qahwatu harratun. Al-masjidu ba'idun. Al-madrasatu ba'idatun. At-talibu maridun. At-talibatu maridatun. Al-hisanu sariyun. As-sayyaratu sari'atun. Al-qamaru jamilun. Ash-shamsu jamilatun. Al-abu jalisun. Al-ummu jalisatun, right? Al ummu jalisatun. So, all we are doing is just adding a ta marbuta at the end to make it a feminine gender, right? And just by looking at it, this is muannas qiyasi. If you remember this, fine. If you don't worry about it. Correct the following sentences. Haqibatu man haza. What is wrong in this sentence? Haqibatu man hazihi. Man hazihi. Because haqibatu is feminine. Al ghurfatu maftuhun. Al ghurfatu maftuhun. The room is open. Is it right? No, I would use al ghurfatu maftuha tun, because al ghurfatu is masculine. So, is al ghurfatu maftuha tun. Haza sayyara tut tabibi. What is wrong in this sentence? Sayyaratu. Sayyaratu is feminine. Should I use haza or hazihi? Hazihi. So, haza sayyaratu is wrong. Hazihi sayyaratut tabibi. Next one is hazihi miftahus sayyarati. Now, we are talking about miftah, the key of the car. Is it hazihi or haza? This is not feminine, this is masculine. So, I would use haza miftahus sayyarati. Ainal baqratu. Where is a cow? Huwa fishari. What is wrong in this sentence? Should I use huwa? Because baqara is feminine, so I should use hiya. Hiya fishari. It is in the street. Ikra waktub, read and write ma'adabti awakhiril kalamati, and then put the proper vowel signs in these sentences. Okay, haza li Muhammadin, haza li Muhammadin, wazalika li Hamidin. Even though there are no vowel signs here, but my mind knows that after haza coming jarun wa majrurun, so I would say li Muhammadin, right? Li is harf jar, Muhammadin is ism majrur, wa zalika li Hamidin. This is for Muhammad and that is for Hamid. That is for Hamid. Liman hazihi. Who is this for? Now, immediately when I look at it, I am talking about a feminine gender here, because hazihi is feminine. Hazihi li Yasirin. This is for Yasir. Alhamdulillahi. Right? We have done it. Alhamdulillahi. Alhamdu is a mubtada. Lillahi is jarun wa majrurun, shibu jumla khabar. So, put the proper vowel signs here. I think Dr. Saab is trying to teach us, even though if there are no vowel signs, we know what is the compound here, what is the grammatical value of each and every word in these sentences, and since we know them, we can put the vowel signs by ourselves, whether they are marfu, mansoob or majroor. Next one is lillahi al mashriqu wal maghribu. Belongs to Allah the east and the west. Now, Lillahi al-mashriqu wal-maghribu, one can simply translate it belongs to Allah, the east and the west. But then this is a beautiful sentence, and this has so much emphasis and so much value and emotions behind it, and I'm itching to tell you what's going on here, but I think we'll just leave it at that because we've already covered too many topics. The only thing you have to think about, lillahi is jarun wa majrurun, and it is before al-mashriqu, which is your mubtada. So, the order has been changed now. Rather than mubtada coming first, the khabar is coming first. And this is a style to create emotions, and you see in Quran all the time, and translation would not tell you these things. You cannot translate these things, because even the person who is translating it may know what's going on, but for him or her to interpret why the order has been changed and what emotions it is bringing out, you only have to feel it. You cannot translate it, but the order has been changed. Emphasis is on belonging to Allah. Al-Mashriq al-Maghrib is secondary. Primary thing is belongs to Allah. Anyways, al-kalimatul jadidatu, al-mikwatu, the iron, ad-darrajatu, the bicycle, al-mil'aqatu, the spoon, al-qidru, pot, it is muannas, al-baqaratu, a cow, al-fallahu, a farmer, al-anfu, nose, al-famu, mouth, al-uzunu, al-yadu, hand, al-rijlu, feet, al-shayu, tea, al-ummu, mother, as-sallajatu, refrigerator, al-qahwatu, coffee, sariyu, fast, an-nafizatu, window, jiddan, very. Maf'ulun mutlaq, I mean, and this maf'ulun mutlaq comes in Quran all the time. Kabiran, saghiran, absolute object, and it's a beautiful concept that we will learn in book 2, inshallah. But for now, we'll just observe that when maf'ulun mutlaq comes, it comes in a mansoob form. I think we can finish lesson number 6 and then would not challenge ourselves to finish lesson number 7. At this time, we will inshallah finish lesson number 7, and it is an easy lesson. I would recommend you do it on your own. There is nothing new in this lesson what we have not learned in lesson number 6. There is nothing new here. The only thing is, in lesson number 6, Dr. Saab is talking about hazihi. Now, he is also bringing in the concept of tilka. Okay, with hazihi, he is bringing the concept of tilka, and tilka is ismu ishara lil bayt, things that are far from us, and hazihi, things that are near to us. So, other than that, there is nothing new in this lesson. Just spend maybe half an hour or hour, and I think I'm pretty sure you will be able to finish the lesson all by yourself, but we will still do it in the next class, lesson number 7, and inshallah we will begin lesson number 8. With that, we will finish our class today, class number 11. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha laha ma kasabat فعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. Now we read this ayah of Surah Baqarah. Ma la taqata. La taqata. What follows after this la? Mansoob. The noun is mansoob. La nafiyatu lil jins. Absolutely there is no power. No debate about it. Absolute negation. So, how could you not feel once we know these grammatical terms and we know what emotions they are bringing in a translation you may just read there is no power, ma la taqat lana, what is there is no power, but we know this is la nafiyatu lil jins and it is followed by noun which is mansoob. Absolutely there is no power. So, with that we will finish our class. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.